What's going on, Biz? How are you, buddy?
Boy, it's great to be back on. What's
Man,
shaking?
this is a monster one for us. I won't lie, man. Like
What do you
this
mean?
is
I'm a fucking regular on this show now. Like I
Are
come
you?
on once a month. You're asking me to come bag lick the Leafs every time I come on here. Let's do it, baby.
It's easy to
Let's
do
start.
these days. It's easy to do these days.
What a
How
team, boys. What a
how about
team.
how about your month though? Like, is your head just fucking still spinning or what?
I feel like kind of coming down from it all. Yeah, I had this week off TNT regardless, so I get like 12 days at home. I'll go on some hikes. I'll get some massages. I'll kind of regroup, and then hey, back to work, man. Yeah,
And
I tell everybody like legit playing in the American Hockey League prepared us for like this life and like what we do, and then including getting your face and head bashed in. Like
well,
that was a weekend for us, Rosie. Then you travel to the next city and
hey,
then you'd unpack your gear at 2 in the morning, and then you'd sleep at the Motel 8, and then you'd get up, you go to pregame, and you do it 2 more times that weekend.
3-3 with 4 fights was just an average little February weekend. Hey,
Yeah, and I
I
had to
don't want.
fight you on the Friday, so it was all downhill after that.
Okay. I don't wanna beat that dead horse, and I know that's winding down, but I cannot get over the fact that you went in there, Good Samaritan. I'm thinking, is this place full of 80 and 90-year-old men? All those fucking so-called men that stood there and watched what transpired, and not a goddamn guy in the place came to even attempt to maybe help you out in that situation. I am still mind blown by that.
So I get a lot of people are saying that, and it would have been nice at some point to have somebody come out, but maybe it was because by the time these people turned around and understood what was going on, there was just so many people and bodies involved. They might have been like, I don't even know who's on which team and why these guys are scrapping. I would have assumed they were aware of the fact that these 9 guys were being absolute donkeys to these managers for like an extended period of time, to where that's why I kept looking over being like, oh, like literally nobody's going to walk over. So I did. Rosie, did I think that they were going to start swinging? No. I thought they were going to kind of calm down and cool the jets. Oh, next thing next
Had
thing you know,
different
I'm at a
ideas.
CVS down the street 3 minutes later being like, what just happened?
Yikes. She happens fast out there,
Yeah.
boys. Well, I'm glad it's all behind
I
you.
needed you there, Rosie. I needed you. Just you. That would
I'm
have been
not
a good.
as I was interested to see how it looked, and of course, it's filmed on a fucking Nokia 64.
Yeah.
But I was interested to see how
Always,
you
yeah.
were on your feet on the street because I don't like that street shit too much. I'd rather be in a pair of skates. But fuck, it's a different ball game when you're planted feet, man.
Well, bud, and I lost one of my shoes right away, and then I lost another one like around the dumpster, or like I think it was when I knocked out the William Carroll. So I'm going on bare feet on the cement too,
Oh yeah.
no tarp on, and then 2.5 minutes going, and I'm low on oxygen because I'm not in shape anymore. So
Yeah.
whatever, it's over now, buddy. Hopefully these guys pay the piper, and it's back to business as usual.
So, Biz, I checked my sources over at hockeyfights.com. You had 52 scraps in your NHL career. Was there a specific opponent or fight that compared to how you felt after fighting like six grown ass dudes?
No, I'd say the most that I got my ass beat was in the American Hockey League, and it was by like John Morasti and Jeremy Yablonsky. And I don't know if I ever fought Sugden. I fought McGrattan. He never got me maybe as bad as Yablonsky did. Yablonsky was just like he was probably benching like 350, 400 pounds. He was so strong at the time, and we were in Binghamton, and he was running around, and they got you remember, did you ever play there?
Oh yeah. Of
Yeah,
course.
like just like the boards were cement, so I had to stick up for a teammate. He bambied me the first fight, and then we had a couple other fighters on our team, but they didn't want to fight him, so he ended up running our teammate again, and then I had to fight him again that same game, and then he bambied me. So that's why I say like then all like you're getting basically knocked out, and you're like you go black, and then you're having a hard time like getting your balance back. But back then we didn't go down the tunnel. I went to the penalty box because I didn't want to show weakness. So I'm in the penalty box being like, all right, I hope by the time I get to skate out of here that I feel normal again on my feet, because he just finished knocking me out 2 times in the same game. So
Yeah.
am I saying like a KO where I'm out cold? No, but like when you get your bell rung where you're like, okay, I'm gonna be feeling this even in 3, 4 days because my brain's swollen.
Well, I was going to say we caught the very tail end of, oh, you just got your bell rung, like shake it off in the penalty box. But we were just got done talking to Brad May. And I mean, you know how guys get to, he's older than us and he is chomping at the bit for another one. He wants nothing more than to get back on the ice and to get in a scrap. He misses every second of it. He does not one piece of it. Did he not enjoy it? That's an old fucking warrior mentality right there, if I've ever seen one.
Those guys before us were tapped. Like they're tapped. Like you said, they just they couldn't get enough of it. They still have a little we went and interviewed Tony Twist when we were in St. Louis. Same thing. That would be the type of guy where if he was at Houston's, he would have had 9 of those guys eating eating soup the next month because they'd all have broken jaws.
100%.
I'm sure your Raya profile's been hot the last couple of days. I don't know what it is with Raya, by the way. I don't know if you've seen this. You can see dudes on there too. Like, did you see that?
When you go on the grid to show what city you're in.
I saw you here a couple months ago, man.
Then it kind of just opens it up, which is weird. I guess you can see all your buddies on it, but then when you go to the search part, it's all girls. So I don't know exactly why it does that. Maybe they try to catch you on a weekend where maybe you're feeling a little frisky or something, but I don't I don't switch hit. I stick to the ladies, but hey man, all the power to you. Do whatever you want to do. It's your dick, right?
Very well said, my friend. So
right,
John
Rosie?
Tavares. Rosie, do you agree with that statement or what?
It's my dick and I'll do what I want with it. Yeah, hey, that is as progressive as it's going to get.
Yeah, hey, man.
I love it.
Do what you want, buddy. It's your body.
It's true.
I love it. That's our tagline here on this podcast. So I want to start with John Tavares. He's a talk of the town, gets a hattie over the weekend against the Buffalo Sabres. Do you think there's any correlation to dropping the captaincy, or is JT just doing his thing here?
I don't know. I think he's a very proud individual. I mean, it's a contract year, right? And I want to think that he wants to stop the narrative of how his salary is this big anchor, where I would say based on the way he's played so far this year, I have no problem with what he's making, especially when the fact that Matthews ended up dropping off during his injury. And during that period of time, he elevated his play. And I mean, going back to last year's playoff and even the playoff before that, I thought he was probably one of the more consistent Leafs. Last year, he was great in the draw. He was providing offense. He was responsible. I thought last year's playoff, he was one of their better players. So yeah, I would want him to remain a Leaf. As far as the captaincy coming off of him, maybe it was a little bit of weight and pressure off him where, kind of like the guys who didn't make the Four Nations, like Hyman, all of a sudden that's over and done with, where now he's back to playing loose because he's not really worrying about it. Maybe it is. I don't know if he's been asked that in the media there where he feels like that's part of it. I'm sure he would just say no. He came into the season wanting to hand business as usual, prove a lot of people wrong, and just continue to help to get this team to the next level. I thought the way that he handled handing over the captaincy, he was nothing more than he was so classy about it, and he's been such a classy Leaf. Was I crazy about the money that he was making? No, that's really been always my main complaint with the JT situation. But him making all that money ain't his fault. It was given to him. So couldn't be prouder of the way that he's handled himself, and a big reason as to why the Leafs are at the top of the division.
Yeah, he just continues to be JT. You look at Anthony Stolarz right now, words dropped. He's 4 to 6 weeks out of here with tweak and getting a goddamn procedure done. It just, when it rains, it pours with the Leafs. It never seems to end. What's your take on the Leafs always saying day to day with these people? I understand you want to keep your cards close to your vest, but isn't it getting kind of silly at this point? These day to days turning into 6, 7, 8 weekers.
I don't know how they're assessing it, and maybe they're sending them to a more professional doctor where it takes a couple days to see him. Maybe the swelling's that are coming down. I have no clue. I more look at this. I saw that tweet come out today, 4 to 6 weeks for Stolarz. He's been incredible. Probably the most consistent Leaf other than maybe JT, but the amount of quality starts he's provided. But I look at this more like an opportunity for the Leafs. They dealt with the situation of Matthews going down, and their power play was still second best in the league, and they still continued to win games. And the guys who are making all the money and have all the pressure elevated their play along with the rest of the group. So we have Joseph Woll, who is an incredible goalie, as a backup. And then we also had that third string. I'm drawing a blank here on Hildebeest. Whereas, like, look at the job that Tree Living has done in the short amount of time of not panicking, making any crazy movies, solidified goaltending, where now we have a backup. We shouldn't be panicking. We should be looking at this like this might happen come playoff time. How is Joseph Wall, our backup, going to react? And maybe if he's struggling a little bit, well, let's put the Hildebeest in there, who had a great start to the year. So look at this like an opportunity. Like, you see the Lions head coach, is it Dan Campbell?
Yeah.
And he talked about them losing last week. And I just like his perspective on it is like, this is a great opportunity and challenge over the next 20 games for the Toronto Maple Leafs to like see what they can do and get some other guys going. And plenty of teams would deal with injury and adversity. Look at what Colorado dealt with at the start of the year. Look at how those top players managed that and got them back on track. So it's going to be, I think they are so well equipped with the coaching fit so far, the adjustment the team's made, the moves that Tree Living's made. I think they're genuinely two solid pieces away from like, hey, man, they're definitely a top 8 team. And then it's all about momentum and how the team's gelling. We all know that.
We got to get the rumor boys going then. Like, so you talk about the trade deadline, never too early to talk about potential trades. There's no secret they're going to be looking at centers. Anybody come to mind in terms of who you want in the Maple Leafs?
Jans is always mentioned, and I like him too, because I think he plays a very hard game and a very good 200-foot game is Scott Lawton. He plays center in Philly, right? And I heard he's a very likable guy. He only makes $3 million. You probably would have to give up a decent return to not only have him this year and next year at $3 million, but scout him and approach it the way that I like, the way that Tampa makes trades. Like when they went out and got Coleman, when they went out and got Nick Paul. These aren't trades that are going to be like, wow, you got Gensel, but they're like, these are foundational pieces to where can JT and this person share the role of playing that second line center, where maybe JT, based on where he's at speed wise and where he could be comfortable still providing, is in a third line role for majority of that series, or maybe he matches up against that guy better. It's, to me, that and then maybe like another defenseman, if not 2 more forwards like that, to just really solidify that group up top. But like, even you got guys like Patches, like you've been seeing him throw the body around lately and really buying into what his new role would be as a player. It's just like nice to see that Leafs land should be very optimistic about what they have right now and where it's headed.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, as well as they're playing, Marner's been going. You talk about Johnny T and whatnot. They're kind of averaging, 2.97 goals a game, which seems a little low and makes me nervous to think about the times I've been sitting there in the playoffs going, come on, team, like, and they just can't score a goal. And maybe that's too reliant on the big boys. Maybe that's not enough depth. But are you just one piece away from kind of getting that, like with a Scott Lawton or a guy that you're talking about, or do you get?
I think I think I look at it like Florida, where like he's not saying like these guys aren't going out there and scoring at will. Things can get hard. Teams can defend well at certain times. I want guys who can play and understand what's happening in real time in that game, where they're saying, man, they're shutting things down. They're waiting for us to make that mistake. We have to be okay playing that 2-1, 3-2 game. Like, we have to be okay not being like, oh, we're used to just kind of being persistent about that and then opening things up, and then we kind of get our cookies and our goals because we're doing that against the bottom feeders of the NHL. You have to be able to go against the Floridas and Boston. You might meet Boston again first round, and they might want to slop it up. They might want to fucking turn that game into quicksand, and it's just like chipping pucks out and boring. You have to be able to understand how to adapt and also play that game, in my opinion, to limit other teams' opportunities. So when I see that, it's just more about like, well, maybe they're not cheating offensively to try to open that game up, and they're okay not taking that risk offensively, where if 3 goals is enough to get you the win, then great. Kind of like Dan Campbell said, he goes, if we win 6-5, I'm going to be happy. If we win 2-1, I'm going to be happy. Like, we just have to just fucking figure out how to win.
And maybe those numbers are the Berube effect. They're playing a smarter, tighter type of game that they're not used to playing. And I think it's way better suited for the playoffs. I mean, that might not be, that number that's glaring at you might not be a bad thing. That could be just a byproduct of them playing smarter, more playoff style hockey.
I think that they're having to exert, these players like Marner and Matthews and Will Nylander and the rest of the team, they're going to be asked to exert more energy in places that they've never done so far in their career. I'm not saying like they haven't maybe done it for a game here or there, but game in and game out, where there's an exhaustion to that. There's a sacrifice in playing that way to continually as a group apply pressure and get the. So it's going to take some time and getting used to, and being a little bit more physical than normal is also hard too. There's a fine line. I'm not saying you need to run around all game, but they're figuring things out in a different way, and it's nice to see.
Hey, I was going to ask you, we've talked about this quite a bit. Why has Ryan Reaves fought once this season? Like, do you have an opinion on that?
So I would have personally, if I was him, came in a little bit more aggressive. I don't know what the conversation with Berube and management was. Like, I know when I was playing with Dave Tippett, he would say, play. Like, if something happens organically, like Rosie, when I fought you that game, do you remember, like, I looked back at Tippett because we were up 3-0.
Yeah, for sure.
He didn't want to give away any momentum, and neither did I, but you took it upon yourself to go at Donor. And it's like, well, that's what you do if you want a response. You don't go after, the fifth, sixth D-man. You don't go after maybe Radoslav Klesla. You go after Donor. Well, I look like a fool in my own building not to respond to that. Yeah. So I just maybe with why they played Montreal first game, I would have fought Wi-Fi if that was me. I would have said, fucking, I'm the king of the castle here. Let's go. And then I probably would have fought, there's probably two other scenarios. And I think that they hosted the Rangers and I would have fought Rempe. But once again, maybe that was word from Berube being like, don't worry about them. Just fucking play. Sometimes that would be me too. And I did like the media or the fans' response of like, oh, like, why isn't he fighting? Because it was frustrating because I'm like, I'm just obeying my coach's orders. Mm-hmm. So I don't know where he was at on that. I think that now when he comes back from injury or is he back now?
He's back. Yeah.
He's back. I think he'll be a little bit maybe more active. Like, you could still fight and be like, look at Olivier. Like, Olivier is walking the balance of player and fighter better than anyone in the league. To me, he's the king of that position right now. Yeah. Because he's so effective on the ice. He's getting ice time. He's producing with that ice time. And if you look at him the wrong way, he is going to take his gloves off and beat your face in. So that is the element that I'm looking for of like fear in a top dog. So I don't want to be too critical of Reaves. In my position, I would have been way more aggressive with my fighting if it was under my control if I was him.
Fair enough. I mean, we had this debate last week. What happens first? Max Domi scores his first goal. Ryan Reaves has his first scrap, and Domi scores the goal. So there's your answer. Biz, excellent stuff. Happy to see you're okay. I was going to ask you too, what's your go-to order at Houston's?
I usually start with the traditional salad. I go with the Thousand Island. Sometime as another appetizer, like I might get like if there's like a soup or a stew or sometimes I might be feeling the shrimp cocktail. Why are you laughing?
Just your breakdown's exquisite.
Yeah. And then I usually go with the rotisserie chicken. The filet they got, the steak on the menu. I guess they got this ribeye with pineapple that's kind of in season sometimes, or it's like a hidden item on the menu. I don't even think I've ever gotten that. The French dip is incredible. So I usually though stick with the filet and the chicken on a regular basis. And sometimes if I'm feeling frisky, I go off the beaten path.
Taking care of the body, Biz.
Taking care.
Did you eat before or after the scrap? Like, what did it happen before? Did you get your
Buddy,
food first or no?
I literally put my salad order in. And as I finished it, I looked up at the waitress and she was looking at the bar and her expression was what led me to look over there. And then I heard the gentleman yelling in the assistant manager's face. So I never even got my salad. I was waiting for my salad. Like she eventually walked away. And that's when I kind of turned over. And I turned over again to look with both eyes, being like, am I fucking seeing this guy get in this guy's face? Like at Houston's? Like what happened over there? Like, did they fuck up his traditional salad? Like, I know I've gotten a little upset if they fuck up the traditional salad, but that never happens at Houston's.
Yeah. Things escalated from a traditional salad very quickly, and I think you deserved a lot more than a salad after that one, Biz. We appreciate your time, man. Good for you.
Oh, great chatting with you boys. And do you guys agree with, like, you guys are happy with where the Leafs are at and you're liking what you're seeing?
Yes. We get in the fucking weeds in this thing, and we get such a magnifying glass going on that we want it to be perfect. And I know that's the market, but fuck, dude, are they in as good a place as they've ever been? I attribute it all to Berube and like Nyes and these guys that have kind of come on and just everything's worked out. But they're playing a style of hockey that we've been begging for them to play for a while now, and I think it's special. It could
Don't
be
say
special.
it. Don't say it.
What do you
Special.
make of Nylander, Marner, and Matthews playing together?
It's like it's either gonna win you the game or you're just gonna have too many eggs in one basket, and it's gonna be too heavy. I don't know. He keeps trying to find that formula, right? Of like, this is perfect. And I hope on day one of the playoffs they've just got it spread out so perfectly and everyone's clicking that no one can fucking stop this crew.
I'm going to give all you Leafs fans a hockey boner before I leave. Stanley Cup final: Oilers, McDavid, Hyman, and Draisaitl going up against the big three for Toronto Maple Leafs. Could you imagine that?
No, I can't.
Okay, that's a Felix ad right there. Get some Viagra in you. Get a little hockey Cialis.
Get some blood flow going, boys.
Get a little blood flow going for Leafs Nation.
I felt that way when they announced David Kampf was coming back on Wednesday. So we'll leave it at that, buddy.
Big news.
That's a needle mover.
Biz.
Well, thank you, boys, and be well, and appreciate your time as always.
All right, we'll take care.
Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.